Thank you, Deputy Speaker. When I first came into this parliament, I asked, well, what's the purpose of matters of public importance, MPIs? And it was put to me that question time is a chance for the government to come in and tell the nation how great they are. And MPIs are a chance for the opposition and the crossbench to say, not so fast, not so fast. So this MPI is about competence, and it's about competence in a wide variety of areas. I'd like to focus on the next 4 weeks and a plea for the Prime Minister to show competence in one of the most important areas he's responsible for, which is keeping our nation together. Now, I see here in the chamber my good friend, the member for Robertson. And I know that you have been on the receiving end of some awful things that have been said to you, and that shouldn't happen. I know that recently Senator Jacinta Price received death threats, and that should never happen. People shared her personal private number, and that may be funny to some because of the way the campaign's been conducted, but we only need to look to what happened in other democracies in the United States and in England to know that this is really serious stuff, really serious stuff. And people who have been here much longer than me have all said they have never seen passion so heightened on either side than they have with this issue. Now, we do this for a living. It's a calling, it's a profession, and it's a great honour. And we come in here and there is some theatre to it. But when we go out, people don't see that we play sport together, we laugh together, we have dinner together. That's what we do. But that's not obvious for everyone in this debate because we're not practised in referendums. More than half of this nation have never had one before. And so when we stoke the fires on either side in this debate, there's consequences for that. So passionate, decent, good people of good character can disagree on this question, and they can still be passionate, good, decent people and come together. And that includes within families, within sporting groups, within businesses and within our electorates. You all would have received communications showing great passions on either side, all of you. And there's things we can agree on. Even if you have a view on yes or no, there are things we can agree on, decent, reasonable people can agree on, that we have great pride in our ancient Indigenous heritage, that we acknowledge gaps in poverty, education and health, that we acknowledge historical and present-day injustices. But we must also all agree that in 4 weeks, this is the 14th of September, but on the 14th of October, we must all agree that the Australian people got it right. Because on the 14th of October, there will be wall-to-wall coverage on every channel, and there'll be panels trying to dissect what this means for the leaders or the election. But we must all agree that the Australian people got it right. And we've seen examples in other nations where that doesn't occur, including our great friend the United States. We saw what happens when that doesn't occur. It damages democracy. Now, it's not just on that night that this is relevant. It's not just on that night. It's also relevant in how we conduct ourselves in the next 4 weeks. The Prime Minister is a passionate advocate for yes. That's clear, and I understand that. But there are ways you can delegitimise the vote. Too many have used the words misinformation and disinformation like it's a cute line. It's another way of saying fake news or propaganda. It's another way of saying I'm not listening. It's another way of saying talk to the hand. But the effect of that is to delegitimise the vote. You're doing it in advance. And we can't do that. You can't fix that on election night. If you've set the conditions up that Australian people voted no, and we'll see what they do, but if you set that that's the bar, it was on misinformation or disinformation, you have undermined Australian democracy. And I caution against that in the next 4 weeks. When the Prime Minister passionately says a hand has been outreached, what is he saying if the majority of Australians vote no, that they've just hit that hand away? That's a terrible thing to say about the majority of Australian people, a terrible thing. We should never say things like that. A serious constitutional amendment, a new chapter with real powers. It wasn't a modest proposal, it has real powers. That's the question. It's not about manners. It should never be put in that way. It should never be put in that way. So in the next 4 weeks, I plead with the Prime Minister, set the conditions for us all to agree on election night that the Australian people got it right. whatever that view is. We can all and should agree on that.
Member for Robertson.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. And before I begin, can I just thank the member for Menzies for his kind words just a little bit earlier.